Yeah, can I add a little bit to that, or amplify a bit? So Tony rightly picked up where I left off. I think the big issue is confronting us now is no longer those hassles over Rawls, public reason, and so forth, but how the discourse should be conducted in public. And I think part of that has to be helping religious people and non-religious people, I'm going to use a metaphor now, find a political voice. Now let me explain what I mean by that in the following way. When I was teaching here at Yale, I taught the philosophy of religion course. And almost always there would be someone 3 weeks into the course who'd come from one of the evangelical Christian colleges, so this would always be a grad student somewhere in the university, who would ask a question in the class, and I allowed, even though it was a sizable class, I allowed questions, but ask the question in such, well, as a parody a little bit, as if he were at an evangelical campfire. And so I'd have to call the student aside afterwards. Well, you know, I can be a little bit more specific. It'd be sort of the sort, well, as Jesus says in, you name it, John 3:16 and so forth. And I'd see all the other kids in the class, you know, stiffening their backs and opening their eyes wide and whispering, where'd this guy come from, and so forth. So I'd have to pull the student aside afterwards and say, you've got to, you can ask roughly that question, but you've got to find the right voice for it. Then I should remember one of them who immediately said to me, what do you mean the right voice? And I said, oh. I said, listen, just listen for a while. Don't say anything for a while, but listen for several weeks. So there, so you know what I mean? There is such a thing as finding the right voice to ask the questions in a classroom. Some ways of asking virtually the same question would just be totally disruptive, and it's very difficult to say what that voice is. I think what we have to somehow collectively do is help religious and non-religious people find the right political voice. Martin Luther King was a genius at having discovered the voice, right? That's a brilliant example of what I mean by the voice. So it's not the content, but it's a pretty subtle matter of voice. Can't do better than that.